Hello, good day. Angus McMahon here with another story. This time, one from the inbox. Ask Angus number 38, A Web of Indigenous Jolly Ranchers. All Wrapped Up asks, what is a cobweb? I know what a spiderweb is, but a cobweb? It can't be made by male swans. Dear Rep, easy to get confused. A cobweb is a spiderweb. Colloquially, it's spider, but officially, scientifically, nerdily, it's cob. Further confusion. Cob, as in web, comes from the archaic word cope, which means, wait for it, spider. Cope is not to be confused with lope, which is the Old English word for spider, but the word is not related to cob. Still not confused? Remember Shelob, the monstrous arachnid from The Lord of the Rings? Well, J.R.R. named her, that's because she, duh, plus lob, which is close enough to lope, the Old English word for spider. And lob sounds like cob, but the two have different family trees and so are not related, except of course that they both mean spider. You are correct in that a male swan is called a cob, but that's Middle English, cabe, which means leader, and is in no way related to the Old English lope or the archaic cope. Got it? No? Think of it this way then. Swans are large, white, have feathers, only 2 legs, and they don't spin webs. Not Just Another White Person asks, I recently had an Indigenous person become openly hostile about aspects of my magical path. He said that my use of the directions, the elements, the correspondences, and the spirit guardians for each direction were just another example of white people stealing ideas that they just don't understand. His anger took me by surprise, and I tried to explain that these things exist in cultures throughout the world, but he wasn't having it. The conversation did make me think, though, about how we pull in ideas from the Kabbalah to shamanism in our practice. So how is witchcraft different than cultural appropriation, and should there be a line drawn? Dear NJAWP, excellent question. Cultural appropriation is a very real thing and something that non-white peoples have every right to be angry about. And yes, lines should be drawn. Problem is, this is the occult we're talking about, meaning that every witch draws their own lines for themselves. And, my personal standard goes something like this. Does this action / direction / deity / lifestyle come from a specific group of people? Has it remained unique and unchanged over a specific period of time? And will my using it harm, diminish, embarrass as the tradition from whence it came? So, Native American headdresses, right out. Karma? It's a 3-part concept, and most people only seem to use the second part, and then out of context. It's a central tenet to several Eastern religions, none of which are mine, and so I've chosen not to use the term. Yoga? It's an ancient system, altered, blended, and watered down through several cultures on its way to the West, landing about 130 years ago. The term and its practices are so varied and widespread now that I don't believe there's much left of the Simkhya philosophy of the Hindu in my hatha stretching down at the 24-hour fitness. So I'll allow that. Regarding your examples that peeved your Indigenous friend, I would go with paganism using directions. Pretty sure much every culture has the concept of this way means this, and we'll call it that, and this way over here means this other thing, and so on. The elements, the classic 4 or 5 from the Golden Dawn up to Silver Raven Wolf, use the classic elements laid down by the ancient Greeks. So I'm calling that one okay. The 3 realms come from Irish Reconstructionists, allowed. Correspondences, I've read about many, utilized several, and honed mine down to a few, none of which have I ever heard come from a Native American tradition. Spirit guardian for each direction? Maybe, but it would depend on how you are characterizing your watchtowers and whether that was taken from a native tribe's way of worship. In short, Not Just Another White Person, your friend is accusing you of using concepts that are ill-defined and universal. More specificity is necessary for their case to stick. Cultural appropriation is a filter that we need to keep in place, but we all draw the line differently. I wouldn't host a powwow, but shamanism is a fuzzy concept and that one can find worldwide. Kabbalah and witchcraft is a no-go with me, but I know several Jew witches who have no problem integrating Jewish mysticism into their paganism. Meanwhile, I'll continue to eat burritos and listen to the blues. Candy Crush writes in with, why are they called Jolly Ranchers? Are ranchers particularly jolly? Dear CC, well, bless you for having the courage to finally address one of the central mysteries of our modern existence. The little hard candies are called Jolly Ranchers because the inventor, Bill Harmson, sold his goods around Denver, Colorado, and he wanted a name that sounded hospitable and Western. Now, to the second and more esoteric conundrum that you have unearthed for us. Are ranchers particularly happy? Turns out they are. Fishing people and forestry folks too. In fact, anything rural, outdoorsy, and crafty is going to score high in the squee department. A recent report from the British Office of National Statistics showed 3 clear criteria for a happy job and, by extension, a happy life. 1, work closely with the land. 2, work around water. And 3, make a physical product. Sound good? See? Happy times. Think of the 8 of Pentacles, the earnest, contented worker that is making something tangible. Why do so many people live next to an ocean when it's much cheaper to live in a city in flyover country? But I think there's something older and deeper here. I'm not advocating wearing animal skins and living in a cave again, but it does seem like the closer we get to our ancestors, the jollier we become. The least happy people in that study were the ones who were the most removed from actual things. Support personnel, accommodation, and insurers all scored lower than people who work in sewage. The next time you grouse that your job is shit, consider that something to aim for. The back to the land and make stuff motif has played out for me in my jobs. The happiest work I've had is being a delivery person on a bicycle, work with the land, and my current job at a print shop, making stuff. And the only good thing about my job at the hot tub showroom is that I was around water all day. There's something else too. All employment carries with it stress and unknowns, but with the older jobs, the problems were immediate and tangible. For cube slaves, the pressures are more convoluted and the results are ephemeral at best. But when I worked at Whole Foods, I had a very close, tie to the land, with the produce changing with the seasons. My work was hard, but also simple and rewarding. And I was doing a job that people have been doing for hundreds of years. So yes, Candy Crush. They're called Jolly Ranchers because ranchers, aka people who work with nature, are jolly. And you too can be more jolly by spending more time outside, near water, making something, while eating candy. All right. If you like what you heard, please hit that thumbs up below. Don't forget to subscribe, and please click the bell icon so you'll know when I post the next story. If you'd like to support creative people like me, for as little as $1 a month, I certainly wouldn't mind. Go to patreon.com and go exploring. A good first place to start is here. Until next time.